Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, the Force is with the readers, and Morag finally shows up in the Ewoks series this time around. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler. This time we're looking at Marvel issue number 8 of the Ewoks series, or the Star Comics Ewoks series. It is entitled Eye of the Kregon. It says up there at the top, this issue, the Kregon Beast rises again. And we have Morag there from the cartoon series, finally, sort of reviving this beast. And we have Wicket and Nyssa talking there. Wicket says, "Look, Nyssa, Morag has brought the Kregon back to life. We're doomed, Wicket." This, of course, can be found these days by Dave Manak and, again, Warren Krimmer. I mean, they've been with the series pretty much straight through. In Star Wars Omnibus, Droids, and Ewoks. Now, this is another of these quick little odd tales, but finally, Morag, the nemesis of Logray and the Ewoks, is showing up in the Ewoks comic series. This, again, is being released between Season 1 and Season 2 of Ewoks at this point, and alongside the Droids and regular Marvel series. So the regular Marvel series has very little life left on it at this point. Basically, she wants to destroy the Ewoks, as pretty much is always the case here. And she causes basically a storm so that her little creature buddies can run in there and grab this green orb. Turns out the green orb is the eye of the Kregon beast. So she shows up, she uses her magic to project her face over everybody else, kind of taunting them and whatnot. And then they realize that the eye is gone, and Chirpa, it's his duty to kill the Kregon beast if she's able to revive it, because his father killed the Kregon beast the last time around, and took the eye. But with that eye, it can be resurrected as long as it exists. You would think they would have just destroyed it or something, but instead they just kept it inside the Ewok village safe, just like that Rainbow Bridge crystal we saw back in the first issue. Suffice to say, by the time we reach part 2, entitled Alive Again, Morag has put it into the beast, and it is back as the creepy cyclopean lizard dinosaur looking Kregon beast here. And seeing it's in that whole spinning top thing that Logray has that lets them see far distances and whatnot, seeing it there, they realize that Chirpa may be in need of help. So Logray gives Nyssa an amulet and sends, of all people, Nyssa and Wicket, you would think they'd need more people, to go battle the Kregon beast. Only to wind up finding out that thanks to Morag's magics, it can't be harmed. Chief Chirpa throws a spear at it the way that his father would have, and it just bounces right off. Chirpa is in deep, deep trouble. He winds up being tied up in some basically foliage here that she controls through magic, and is told that he's going to be made to watch the end of his people. I'm not sure how he's going to do that when he's stuck in the ground there and the village is far away, but, just kind of go with it here. Finally, Wicket and Nyssa wind up arriving at the scene where it has bashed its way through the woods to find its trail, and we get the third part, The Beast Goes Wild. Wonder if there's any drinking or spring break involved in The Beast Goes Wild. Suffice to say, they find Chirpa, they free him, they're running off to try to find a way to stop the Kregon. Nyssa winds up throwing the amulet against him, and it just makes a boom and doesn't seem to make a whole heck of a lot of difference. They work their way to essentially a fiery pit, the molten sulfur pits, they call it, and as Wicket and Nyssa basically ride across, Chirpa swings across, and in swinging across is able to drive the Kregon into it, but all it does is come back out of the molten pit, caught on fire. So now it's a Kregon fire beast, Nyssa seems to name it. Fortunately, they wind up being able to pull the same thing Logray did with the two ice creatures that smack together, the same kind of thing you'd see in a story where you have an X-Wing flying between a couple of TIE fighters and they blast each other. Here's another of those coincidences. They are standing on a raised area here, minor hill, next to Morag. Morag fires at them with a heavy blast. It is strong enough to hit the Kregon and destroy its eye because it coincidentally happens to hit exactly in the eye. That destroys the eye. The Kregon falls back into skeletal form, and since the eye is destroyed, there's no need to then take it back and protect it this time around, so the Kregon is gone. And we end with perhaps the worst pun in all of Ewokdom, and that is saying something. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense how this pun works in actual life. We basically have a Chirpa saying, "Come children, let's collect our Bordoks," the creatures they rode on, "and depart before Morag regains her senses." To which Wicket says, "That witch regain her senses?" Right? W-I-T-C-H. To which Nisa says, "Hee hee, that's something which'll never happen." W-H-I-C-H apostrophe L-L. Which'll, which will. To which Chirpa says, "You mean which'll never happen." W-I-T-C-H apostrophe L-L. And then we get, Wicket saying heh heh and Nisa saying hee hee. But how does that work? If you're saying this out loud, "That's something which'll never happen," you mean which'll never happen. Yeah, dude, that's what I said. I said which'll never happen. No, you meant which'll never happen. Unless they're actually saying it and spelling it out loud, "That's something W-H-I-C-H apostrophe L-L never happen." You mean W-I-T-C-H apostrophe L-L never happen. It makes no sense at all. I'm sorry. It's not only a bad pun, it's a nonsensical bad pun, and that is something that just can't be tolerated. Sorry, my dad's big on puns. He's the one who always tells a joke at Christmas time about how do you know that the wise men, the three wise men from the biblical story, were firemen? Well, because they came from afar. Get it? They came from afar. Never mind. Suffice to say, though, puns can be okay humor. Childish sometimes, but can be okay humor. Here, no. How are they supposed to know the spelling of what each other is saying when the words are essentially, homophones, where they sound the same but mean something different or spelled differently? Yeah, this just does not work as a joke here at the end. The rest of the issue, actually not too bad. When we're talking about, Morag finally showing up in the series, a mystical beast that is based on some kind of spell here as opposed to being just a native beast to Endor. Kind of neat. I'm not really sure why Wicket and Nisa are the ones sent after the beast as opposed to others going out to help Chirpa, but it works. And of course we get a little bit about the idea that Chirpa is leading as his father led, and his father had been the one to face it in the past. So I would say that it's not a terrible story, it's just an odd story with a terrible pun at the ending. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, is this story, Eye of the Cregan, an essential read? No, it's not. It's cool to see the first appearance of Morag in this series, but she's already been appearing in the Ewoks cartoon, so it's not her first appearance. Not that big a deal. Again, not a bad read, just a little goofy, but certainly not something that anyone should check out to make sure they're not missing something in the Star Wars saga. You could blink and miss this one and not be at all the wiser. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the readers.